Belay devices. This is where we get a chance to talk about, in my opinion, the most game-changing belay device that's ever hit the market, and that's going to be the grigri. The grigri's been around for a long time. We are technically in the third generation of the grigri. There was the grigri 2, and now we're back to the grigri. This just dropped this past year and is pretty new to the market. And then also fairly new to the market is the grigri plus. Now I didn't put it in the grigri's family lineage because it is different from the grigri. The grigri plus is really featured, and it's a little bit more expensive, and it has some feature sets that I think a lot of people could find super handy. The main difference between the grigri plus and the grigri is this one has a selector switch to select between top rope and lead. Now, you're curious what the difference could be there, right? It all comes down into the cam tensioning system. So when you put the grigri plus into lead mode, the cam spring gets very tight. And that means that it's going to lock up less as you're paying out slack for somebody clipping on lead. Now, just the opposite of that, if you switch this thing into top rope mode, that cam spring then gets very loose, which means that as someone is top roping, if the climber were to slip and fall, the top rope's going to catch that much quicker. It's going to be a whole lot easier to engage. And as you pull slack out, even the friction of the rope is going to want to orient the cam towards the locking position, because you're going to want to kind of break the climber with every pull of the rope while top roping. Some other features in the grigri plus is a stainless steel side plate, so it won't wear out quite as fast. If you climb around the ridge, you know that the sand can be quite abrasive as it gets into the rope and wear on the side plate of the grigri. And then probably the biggest feature, and one that's hard to demonstrate in this situation, is the anti-panic handle. One of the most common accidents with a grigri is people getting scared and opening the device all the way, tensing up and dropping their climber. This handle, and it's a handle that came from the Pro Division, if you pull it too far too fast, it actually breaks away and the cam will re-engage, meaning you have to reset the handle to start lowering again. Now, should it break away and you pull very hard after that breakaway, you can override the safety feature. So once again, real quick, difference between grigri plus and the grigri: anti-panic handle, top rope, lead selector, and then the side plate. The new grigri, the big difference between it and the grigri 2 is that this now goes down to 8.5 millimeter, although we recommend that 8.9 is the happiest rope size, but you can get that super skinny rope in the grigri now. The main difference between the grigri 2 and the grigri is that the old grigri used to have a 2-to-1 ratio from the handle to the cam, and now this one has a 3-to-1. So before, for every 2 degrees of movement on the handle, you would get 1 degree of cam release. Now you get 3 degrees of movement on the handle to 1 degree of cam release, giving you a little bit smoother of a lower. It's not quite as jerky. So if you weren't really comfortable or hadn't quite figured out how to get the grigri, your rope into the braking plane over the grigri and manage that lower, and it felt jerky through the handle, now it's going to feel a little bit smoother. So those are some of the main differences. So outside of the grigri, we also make tube style belay devices. So the grigri has the assisted braking of the cam, which is really handy whenever your climber is working a route or just anytime there's a fall. The way that the grigri locks up makes it super, super safe. But there's applications where the grigri doesn't really make sense, and some people just really still want to use tube style devices. The Reverso and the Verso are some of the lightest on the market, and for guide style devices, the Reverso is just tried and true. Now, where the Reverso is a little different than, say, like the ATC, aside from being a touch lighter, is the orientation of the hanger bracket for whenever you're belaying a second. This orientation, as you can see, is perpendicular to the plane that the rope breaks in. And that's really important because as you hang the device off an anchor, this allows the rope management to go out towards, where if the one that is parallel to the rope side keeps the device oriented to this direction, having to put a twist in the anchor, and it's just not as ergonomic and it doesn't flow as well. A little small thing, but it kind of makes a difference. Obviously, you know, anytime that you're going to be rappelling, you're going to need a tube style device, and you know, you can only rappel on a single line with the grigri. This allows you to wrap on double ropes, which is super handy in multi-pitch scenarios.